The RPG After Years is part of the We Can Make This Work Probably Network. Find out more at probablywork.com.
Hi, this is Troidal Power, the host of Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast, the podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. And right now on Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, I, your host, Troidal Power, am playing through Golden Sun. You should come listen to me play Golden Sun on Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power. Find it and a lot of other weird stuff at probablywork.com.
Welcome to the RPG After Years, your weekly show covering all things RPG from the past, present, and future. This is episode 29. I'm Rich.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Jay.
Today we're going to talk about the craziest weapons we've seen in RPG games we love. Later in the episode, we'll be holding our second RPG session for Wild Arms, RPG club session, I should say. So no true catch up this week, but we have, what has everyone been up to? Just can't read.
I think we've all been up to a lot this week, or this past week or so, right?
Yeah.
Correcto mundo.
Who wants to go first?
I think Jay should go first since he has the most significant.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about that. Well, I haven't done much gaming, unfortunately. We've been doing a little bit more remodeling stuff. So got kind of like pandemic boredom and started remodeling. We replaced all the floors and we've been slowly putting in the baseboards and painting them, which is a huge pain in the butt. And I don't recommend ever doing it. But we have most of the living room, dining room, kitchen done, downstairs done. So that I spent a good chunk of time doing that, especially last weekend. But aside from that, I did get a new job.
Yes. So proud. Here, you get one of these. That's more important than beating a game, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it was a big mistake or not. I was working at a pretty good place, but it was doing contracting for the feds, which Scott knows that doing work for the government can get pretty terrible sometimes.
It sucks.
But I was also just kind of ready to move into a company that was a little more maybe challenging. I don't know. What I was doing at the previous company was pretty okay, but I've been feeling pretty unhappy for most of this year and probably a couple months of last year as well. So I found a good kind of spot where I was in between projects at the company, and it kind of gave me a good time to transition away. So that I'm moving towards a company that I know Scott's heard of because him and I actually used the service that they provide at one point.
Right.
But it does like security-based stuff for software. It's like a business-to-business private company. Technically still a startup, but it's like in the unicorn stage. So it's producing a lot of revenue and just got another round of pretty huge funding backed by some of the big tech giants. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I start that awesome. Probably the Monday following the release of this episode. So that'll can keep your, I don't know, ear out for updates there, I guess.
And then on the episode after that, we'll talk about like what a huge mistake it was. And
He's crying.
Hopefully
He's like,
not.
oh my God.
I sure hope not. The mistake I made at this last company is that I like went all in because I was so obsessed with being like, I don't know, important, I guess. I went all in and like gave everything, and it ended up taking all of my time. So I was like constantly glued.
Yeah. You got like 3 promotions and like several large raises in the short time you were there.
And so it paid off, but I'm not going to make the same mistake of giving everything I have into the 9 to 5. Leave a little more mental energy.
I think that's good.
Will not be going back to technical leadership, that's for sure, because I was a tech lead for the last year. I will not be doing that again. That was probably the biggest mistake.
I could see doing like project management, but as far as like, I don't know, taking on that much responsibility,
It's very draining to take on leadership. I know that.
Yeah, it's not like I just like writing code, man. Like I don't like I like working with people, but whenever you're in technical leadership, you step away from writing code and you start like basically being like a business analyst that sets things up for the other software engineers. It's just not super fun.
Yeah, I totally get that. I get so irritated at my work just when I'm not able to like actually program. If people leave me alone and I get to actually like code, I don't hate the job. It's enjoyable. Mm-hmm. But that's the lot we're dealt, I guess. What about your work, Rich? I heard you've been up to something.
I love the fact that you two have like the same industry when you guys to talk about stuff. Me, I'm just a coach, and I lead and I manage people. So that's all.
Oh, people are easier than machines. Machines just do what you tell them. Or no, other way around. Machines are easier than people. People
don't do what you want.
Yeah.
Well, it's just been a little bit wild. My job, I've gotten more busy. I work on a college campus for a bank. So colleges, they're coming back. Students are coming back. So we're helping and just basically making sure everything's taken care of. And I go back to my normal job branch, which is about 45 minutes away. So about an hour and a half of my day is gone for driving, which I get plenty of time to listen to books. That's always fun.
Nice.
I discovered a new book series that I really like, that I think you guys might like. I've talked about it a couple times. The Lit RPG series.
RPG?
Yeah.
It's Audible. So basically, it's a guy that gets sucked into an RPG, an MMO RPG, but there's some sinister stuff on the back end of it that you get to briefly hear about. And the guy makes all sorts of comments about Earth in aspects of this new world he's in. So he's basically in charge of things, and it's a pretty fun little read there, or listen, I should say.
Is it like what's that? Ready Player One? Is it like that?
No, not like that. Well, I think in the same lines of that, but it's like a 9-book series. They're not very long. They're like 11 hours. Like there's several of the books are only like 11.
Well,
I'm on book 4.
That's 100 hours of listening to a book.
Yeah, but I have an hour and a half to do that a day. So
100 days.
Basically.
So, 3.5 months. It's not too bad.
What you're saying is you can get through the whole series faster than you can get through Persona 5.
Yeah. So there's that, and it's just my job's just demanding a lot of my mental capability. So I've just been trying to do things, and it's been causing some things to get put on the back burner. So, and then
so you don't normally work at the campus branch, and you're about to switch back to your normal bank?
Campus branch. I run the campus branch, but since the COVID happened, everything got shut down. So I got shipped. Gotcha. I got shipped to my hometown, which made driving to work less than like 2 minutes. So now I'm back.
So you're about to lose even more time.
Yeah. So
your day.
Good times.
So Rich is going to get COVID soon.
No,
if he's having to work
because I wear a mask every day, like I'm supposed to. I wash my hands several times a day and use hand sanitizer and spray everything.
I feel like at a school though, you still only have so much.
And I have glass shields in front of me. That's the key.
I hope the best for you. I've actually had a few like friends I actually know IRL get it recently. So
Yeah, my
sucks.
grandma just tested positive for it.
Oh, yeah.
She's 70 and still works part-time in the hospital. But
What's her symptoms?
she just
like,
has a
is
really
is
bad
she
cough
really
right
sick,
now.
or
But she has to she's having
okay.
to do breathing treatments, but she's positive and seems to be doing well.
So
one of my friends that got it said her only symptom was she woke up with she couldn't smell or taste anything.
That's weird.
I think not being able to taste anything would scare me, because it's never.
I'm very hopeful that I won't have any issues or anything. I'm trying to be optimistic that nothing will happen. Because if you focus on the negativity on it so much, that's just going to drag you down. So if I think, okay, nothing's going to happen, it's all going to be good, positivity, you'll be just fine.
You just got to remember, man.
So if we send you positive vibes,
you just got to remember, if you get knocked down, you can get back up again.
Yeah,
get back up again.
Basically. So
you never
gonna
keep
you down.
So what I've been really focusing on is, like I said, I continue my training, my workout training, because I have another competition in like 7 weeks. And then I'm done for the rest of the year, probably till next year at some point. And I eat better and I do more cardio. So I'm trying to boost my immune system so I don't have any of these problems. So
it's probably smart.
Yeah,
I too have tried to be healthier.
So do you think that you're going to get more time back once you switch, despite your commute, or things will be less crazy?
No, my time's going to get worse. So I've already started commuting like in the last 2 weeks. That's why my week's been insane. And I've been working later. So
that sucks.
That's all right. My training, it still takes, I know my training still takes like 2 hours plus the cardio inside of that. So it's like, oh my God.
How much are you taking, like 10 minutes between all your sets of 3 squats?
Yeah. Because I'm getting into some pretty big heavy in my terms, like heavy sets, like over 300 pounds of squats, like for reps of 5. So I mean, Jay knows that's a lot.
It's cardio.
I mean, cardio, but I can't wait for you to start doing it again.
As for me, I went on vacation. I got back Wednesday, and we went to Mexico Beach, Florida, which sounds insane to go to Florida right now. But this place was hit by a hurricane in late 2018, and so it was kind of like a ghost town. Lots of wreckage on the beach as far as like wrecked houses and stuff like that. We didn't come within like 6 feet of anybody the whole time. Like we went straight from the Airbnb, which was more or less on the beach. And the town didn't have like a grocery store. It had like a food truck as its only restaurant. But that's cool because that's exactly what I wanted. Got up in the mornings, played Wild Arms, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to actually finish Wild Arms based on the being on vacation stuff, but I think maybe that actually made it a little easier for me to do.
You're lucky to get a vacation.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to try to take another one next month with just me and Corey. We went with a friend.
How many vacations do you get?
I've got lots of PTO, and I haven't spent any of it until this vacation. So
I'm going into a company that has technically unlimited PTO, by the way. So just saying that.
Hopefully that turns out to be like where it's not the type of culture that makes you feel guilty for using.
I've been told that there's like technically a mandatory at least 2 weeks, but other than that, it's flexible, and as long as it works with the team.
That should be like common. I think that's a common practice for a lot of companies, is like your mandatory 2 weeks of vacation. Like for me, you have to take like a week of vacation. There's other reasons behind it, but you have to take a week off of vacation. So
yeah.
Because we don't want to pay you out for that vacation. We don't want to add that to your paychecks. So just leave for a week.
Mm-hmm. I've been trying to job search too, but my resume is not as illustrious as Jay's, so I've been having a harder time with it. But a lot of the companies I have seen, it seems to be very common to just have unlimited PTO these days.
Easy.
Whenever you're in the tech field, people don't really hate their job. So
yeah, that's true. For better or for worse. All right, we want to go on to the save state of the podcast.
Do this. All right, guys. So the RPG After Years has a pretty poppin' Patreon for you all. Scott, why don't you tell us about that?
My Patreon be poppin'. My Patreon be cool.
We got a wet ass Patreon. I just came up with that on the fly.
Get a bucket.
Okay,
and a
so yeah,
mop.
we got whores into the house. No.
What is happening?
Have you not heard that song?
No, it sounds terrible.
Okay, there has to be some spin on "We Got Whores in This House" for this. We'll have to think about it.
We got RPGs in this
Because
house.
you just said the word wet ass, and I'm like, that sounds disgusting.
There's a new song. I think it's by Nicki Minaj.
No,
It's
Cardi
called "Wet
B.
Ass Pussy."
And
Cardi
somebody
B.
else.
Okay.
Doesn't surprise me.
Grab a bucket.
It's
and
very
a mop.
vulgar, and it's been in the pop culture quite heavily, just because it's so like outrageous that it's caught on and turned in like a little bit of a meme.
Disgusting. It's just, ugh. Anyways.
Yeah, you should look it up
Oh
after
God,
this.
no.
But yeah, we got that WAP Wet Ass Patreon. Some of the benefits, you get early episode access, so this comes out a couple days before the main show. We
And for on this, so that tier, you can also touch Rich's little dingly thing that swings in the back of his throat.
My uvula.
Wow. You also get ad-free episodes, so no anchor talk, no promos. You get the aftercast, which I think it is time for us to record a new one. So I'm not sure whose turn it is to record or to come up with the aftercast thing. But basically, that's just a bonus episode where we talk about whatever the hell we want. We try to keep it sort of related to the gaming in general, but sometimes we go on wild tangents. We've got extra reviews. I believe the Animal Crossing review is out now. We are going to record Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze soon. And Jay is going to plan a Last of Us review as well, I believe.
At some point.
I need to play that game so bad.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about the first Last of Us. Although, this is a bit of a spoiler alert, but I have also finished the second one now. So that's
Ding, ding,
coming
hey,
too at some
bling, ding,
point.
ding.
I was thinking, man, it's been like a month or longer since we've had to do a true catch up. So we're going to have, well, I will have a lot to say when we get to that.
You.
Yeah. Another new benefit, the RPG Club, you get to nominate and vote on which game we will be playing. Each patron gets one nomination and 3 votes. So that's how we ended up on Wild Arms. And a lot more. There's lots of good benefits out there. We really appreciate any support you can give us here at the RPG After Years. And you can find that at patreon.com/RPG.
And we actually just now added a new benefit where you can park your Big Mac truck right in Rich's little garage. So look
All
forward
day,
to that.
every day.
What is a Big Mac?
That's part of
truck?
the song.
Oh. I haven't actually sat down and listened to it. I've just like heard that shit in like the
Oh
background.
my God,
of
I've heard it so
videos
many
and-
times.
All this sounds just horrible.
It
and
is
disgusting.
hilarious. It is so funny.
Ugh.
So we also have a Twitch, which we are streaming to right now. So you can get involved in that, hang out, chat with us as we're streaming. At some point, we may stream video games, but I am not going to say that we will definitely do that at this point because we are busy little boys.
Didn't you say you were going to try to like set up some kind of schedule for yourself, turning over a new leaf?
I am.
type deal?
I do have a calendar with my proposed schedule, but I am not going to tell anybody that until I know I'm going to stick to it. So you can
Gotcha.
find that
so
twitch.tv/RPG After Years
Yep, we're live
Live.
right now.
on custom live streaming service.
Right.
Please donate to us now.
Yeah, we'll just sit here until somebody does this. No, I'm just
I mean, I'll take a shirt off. I don't care.
There's some holes in this house.
Jesus. Another new thing we're doing, the RPG Club. A couple weeks ago, we kicked that off. We had our first session. So if you don't know what the RPG Club is, basically it's a book club for RPGs. We play through small chunks of an RPG in 2-week segments. And we just talk about that part of the game when we get there. It's a community thing. So today we will be having our second session of the RPG Club where we were supposed to get to the Sacred Shrine. So the next checkpoint try to get to finish the gate generator by September 6th in Wild Arms if you're playing along. I don't know what that means, but our Oracle Colin has been guiding us all on this journey.
Oh,
You need to talk with Colin here about these sections. Okay.
We'll get to that.
So the next thing on that is Bill's JRPG Adventures and Other Trappings, currently playing the Super Robot Wars. I have no idea what this is, what he's doing. Is this a Bill thing? This is another
Bill
Bill
thing.
Okay. He seems that like every month or so, he'll come up with a new podcast.
Bill Ventures.
Yeah.
I think Super Robot Wars, I don't even know what system it was on, but it was in, I saw a screenshot. It's in black and white. And I think it's just like a mech fighting game or something.
Like, where does he find this stuff? Like, seriously, he'll just like come up with some random game and pull out of his ass and just go, well, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to do a review on it.
I wonder where Disa is in it. I'm sure she's been playing.
Got like 80 hours.
He did finish Monstania, and I think he's going to review that soon. So look forward to that. One more announcement. We will be launching our merch store very soon. It's already live if you try hard enough to find it on Redbubble. But we're going to have all kinds of products, masks, mugs, shirts.
I have a product
tank
request.
tops.
I want a beanie. I need a new beanie.
A beanie. I don't think they have beanies.
I'm going to complain.
Unfortunate. It's kind of crazy. They have like dozens and dozens of different types of products, but no kind of hat from what I've seen. So hats must be difficult to customize and mass produce.
I don't believe it.
So look forward to that. I've already ordered a mask. I made a post on the Twitter.
I saw
of me showing that off yesterday.
I kind of want one.
So
I will probably buy a hoodie because I'm a hoodie slut. So
hoodie slut. Yeah, will honestly probably end up dropping quite a bit of money just so I can rep our show wherever I go. But I'm excited about that. So hopefully we'll be able to officially tell you guys how to find that next week. But yeah, I think that's it.
All right, everyone.
So do you want to go?
Yeah, let's
go to
just
the
do
news,
this
Rich?
news thing. Let's
I
go.
was waiting for a transition noise. Did you play the transition noise?
The jingle is the transition noise.
Oops.
So here we go.
Hear ye, gather round for all your news. Stop your clatter and listen close. Alas, you won't believe your ears. Listen close for the news.
What do I feel like it's been 2 months since we last recorded something?
It has been 2 weeks, but it does feel like it's been forever.
Just love how Jay just totally ruined everything on that.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Jay ruined.
All right, guys. So let's just go with this one. So the sales of the Trials of Mana remake, I guess, did a really good job and it exceeded Square Enix's initial expectations. I don't think they thought it was going to do that well, but it did pretty good. Didn't this thing come out, I think, right around when remake came out from Final Fantasy VII?
It was around that time, I think.
Well, according to Famitsu's estimated physical sales numbers, just shy of 250K in Japan. So
I find this, maybe it's just the series in general, but I found this kind of interesting because usually when Square Enix talks about their sales, they're like, well, I know it sold 8 billion units, but we really wanted 15.
Yeah.
It's like, are you insane?
So I don't know what that means. Like, I think with all of these new, like the sales expectations that they had, it didn't even say what they expected for it, but it shows that, the public wants these other games, and Square Enix needs to focus on their other stuff too. So the Mana series still holds some value to them.
The heart wants what it wants, and apparently we want.
Well, the heart wants the 13 trilogy on the Switch, but that's still not happening. It's still pissing me off.
Yes, one day. I think that it is interesting though that they seem to have been doing more with the Mana series in general lately, because they had that collection and they had that remake of Secret of Mana, and now this one. So I wonder if maybe it's just going to keep.
They might put out a new game then at that point, like a new entry in the series. If they're just testing the waters, like, oh, okay, so this one did okay. This one did really well. Well, shit, I guess we got to make a new one.
Jay, didn't you say that you wanted to play the Trials of Mana remake?
I did.
It's on the wish list.
There are many things that I'd like to play, Scott.
I still
know.
have it, but man.
Like Wild Arms.
All right, so up next, Gotham Knights. So there was a world premiere with some gameplay walkthrough.
World premiere.
Gotham Knights. Yeah, I was actually not totally expecting this to look so cool and actually be what it is. So it's an open world cooperative action RPG, Gotham Knights, and it all takes place like apparently Batman's dead, and it's up to Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Robin to protect Gotham. So like, I don't know.
That actually sounds cool.
I watched the gameplay this morning, and it looks really good.
I watched that too. Ooh.
I was not expecting this because I've seen like all the different Gotham games that have come out over the past, I don't know, 10 years. And they've never really looked interesting to me. But this one looks good. This looks very interesting.
Yeah, it's a Batman game not starring Batman sounds awesome.
I bet he'll show up though. That's the thing. So
he's really alive.
Batman is dead, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that this is an RPG, but in related news, didn't they like announce a Suicide Squad game where your goal is to like off the Justice League?
Maybe. The DC big fandom thing was this weekend, and they released so much stuff. The new, I guess, the Flashpoint movie where Batfleck is coming back. Then you saw the Batman movie
with Michael Keaton.
That's kind of cool though. Then you got the Batman with Robert Pattinson. It looked okay. I'm still kind of on that, just to see the Twilight boy running around as Batman. And then you got this one, the Gotham Knights, and I think the Suicide Squad stuff. And then Black Adam is supposed to be. I think The Rock made tease about that. It's just
he
their
made an
version.
Instagram post about it.
Good. So this is their version of like the Marvel stuff. So we'll see what happens.
You know, how come DC seems to like the DC universe seems to make really awesome games, but their movies suck, and then for Marvel, it's the complete opposite.
That's a good question. Because all those Arkham games are supposed to be really good. Lauren loves them. She's always telling us, you got to play the Arkham games. And I'm like, no.
I don't have to do anything.
I just don't know. I don't know why. That's weird. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I just think the movie stuff that they're trying to do just doesn't happen. They keep getting pulled in like 13 different directions. Like, why is there now 2 Batman movies?
I think it's because they're not sitting back.
DC
it seems like Marvel, whenever they planned all their crap, they sat back and was like, okay, we got 20 years. What are we doing? and then DC is like, okay, we got a year. What are we doing?
See,
DC had one of those like Mad Libs books where you just fill in the blank. And
I haven't seen one of those since
also
I was 11.
They're probably like they've got like Robert Pattinson, a bunch of actors, and like different properties on a wall, and they're just throwing darts like blindfolded after they get span around.
Or a wheel. They have just a list of mainstream actors they've got, and they spin the wheel. Say, all right, and this guy's Batman now.
We got The Rock and Batgirl. Oh, that's not going to work. Move it over one.
It's actually kind of crazy that The Rock hasn't been in a Marvel movie.
I wish he was. But it seems like, okay,
too.
so Marvel's doing a really good job about pulling old actors and actresses that have like basically might have gone past their prime just a little bit, and then it pulls them back in. Like Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas. I mean, Paul Rudd was starting to kind of fade away a little bit, and then
he will never fade.
He cannot fade.
No,
he drinks the blood of infants, don't you know?
And then RDJ had basically committed all sorts of crime and drug problems,
and now he's one of the richest men on the planet again, or more rich than he was anyway.
Talk about really playing into the role.
Yeah, he kind of just he's like, you know what, my life sucked. I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna make this me now. So
I'm sure that if they could choose, though, DC would much rather be successful at the movie industry than the gaming industry. So,
more money.
More money, more problems. And our last story today, we got quite a bit of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles HD remaster news, which is a little surprising. It is very close to release now. In fact, I think it's like
27th.
This coming week. Yeah, but they've made some pretty like major news announcements about it. So first off, they are adding 13 post-game dungeons, and apparently they are all supposed to be harder than anything in the main game. That's pretty crazy. I think there's more than 13, I think, but there's not that many dungeons in the base game. So it's almost like they're doubling the content, which is pretty insane.
We'll see.
Yeah. But they're post game, so I don't know. Like, who knows? Oh, they also announced, speaking of multiplayer, that there is no crossplay, I think is what it was. So wait, was it crossplay or no? It was region locked. There is crossplay, but it's region locked. So we can't play with Bill, basically. From
I'm
what
okay
I
with
understand.
that.
Oh,
That's actually, I requested that.
I mean, we want to play a game with Bill, but seriously, we don't want to be up at like 3 a.m.
True. And then they also announced that they are adding in characters from across the Crystal Chronicles series as playable. So like King Leo from what is it? My Life as a King, everybody's beloved, game. Everybody remembers all these Crystal Chronicles characters. Lael from the really bad Wii one, So that's actually pretty cool. I think it seems like they're really going all out to, make this a very fresh and new experience. There's no local multiplayer, which kind of sucks. But Corey wasn't too interested in it anyway.
What's Corey know?
So yeah, he knows nothing. So for those that we're still talking about whether or not we want to actually play it together or not, but maybe.
My answer
Depends
is
on-
yes. So if it doesn't happen, it's these guys' fault.
I say yes too. I mean, it's 2 against 3.
Oh, that
Two
doesn't
votes,
happen.
Majority.
It's Scott's fault.
Yeah,
Just blame Scott.
majority rules there.
What about if you guys meet your deadlines in Wild Arms? I'll buy Crystal Chronicles.
That's not fair.
RPGs released this week. I don't know any of these. So The Revenant Prince, August 13th. Eastern Exorcist. Oh, that was on the PC. Eastern Exorcist also on the PC, August 14th. That's for early access. And exactly the same with Dreamscaper. So PC, the 14th, entering early access. Pathfinder Kingmaker Definitive Edition on PS4 and Xbox One on August 18th. Mortal Shell, PS4, Xbox One, PC on August 18th. Death and Quest 2. These names are stupid. PS4 and PC. So it's the 18th for the PC and the 25th in North America. And then the 28th in Europe. And then Runestone Keeper, Switch, August 20th.
I also know nothing about any of
The
those.
Death End Request 2, just the name makes no sense, like Jay
Death
said.
and Quest 2.
You guys remember that game and it was like the title was just like a line of
Yeah.
code?
I actually heard that was a good game.
So how about that? So RPGs that are coming up, as we mentioned, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered is coming to the PS4, Switch, and mobile on August 27th. But we already talked about that at length. Moon, the name of the game is just Moon. That's coming to Switch on August 27th. Wasteland 3, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on August 28th. Windbound, coming to everything on August 28th. And Nexomon Extinction, also coming to everything on August 28th.
Nexomon. Sounds like an attempt at
Is it?
at Digimon.
Oh.
Nexomon.
Disa says she says that's Idea Factory. Definitely getting it at some point. I wonder if that's the Death End Request thing we were talking about. Or maybe it was Moon. I'm pretty sure Idea Factory is like Disa's favorite game.
Oh,
company,
Nexomon
so.
is like a Pokemon kind of replacement.
Oh,
fancy.
Interesting.
never been done before.
Oh, no. All right, so let's take a quick break before we get into the main topic.
Too young for this trek. The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of
MC,
Troy, and Eric.
their mission to introduce Tyler to strange new episodes.
to seek out the best and worst media in the Star Trek franchise.
To boldly go where several podcasts have probably gone before.
You could listen to these goobers talk about Star Trek by searching for Too Young for This Trek or by visiting probablywork.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's get to the main discussion. What are some of the craziest weapons in RPGs?
Weapons and RPGs.
Why did you want to talk about these RPG?
All right, so basically, when I was replaying Final Fantasy X, I'm still doing that, so just skip over that. But
Floating hands.
Yep.
I'm still playing.
Yeah. I got to think of like Lulu's weapon. Okay, so the little doll.
The boobs, right?
Yeah, the boobs, that thing. So the little weapon, little doll thingy runs to the monster and basically smacks it. Moogle or whatever it is. You could change it out.
Yeah, that's
Cactuars.
Yeah,
possessed stuffed animals.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think there is a Tom Berry.
So it basically just takes off and runs to the monster if you don't do any magic attacks, and then it just smacks them. And it does massive amounts of damage if you get a certain, like on the sphere grid. So I got to thinking about what other weapons in different RPG games just don't make any sense and are just like over the top crazy. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it.
You know, that is a fair criticism. It is never explained how those dolls work. Like, is Lulu like possessing them? Does she use them as like a puppet? Are they like just built that way?
Are they alive? Are they attached to her boobs? I don't know.
Yeah. What is funny is when you, if you for some reason are able to get Lulu's strength really high, like if you're grinding at the end of the game, or I guess if you did the expert sphere grid, just do a shit tons of damage with your little doll.
Yeah, makes no sense. Why? And then if you take on the opposite side of that on that game and you look over to Waka, her lover, I think in this one they're in love. But anyways, he has a beach ball.
Blitz ball. It's a blitz ball, first of all.
It's a blitz ball.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's a blitz ball. It's a beach ball.
It is funny when you're fighting like enemies that are far away. Like I guess when you're on the airship, or maybe that Sin fight while you're in the boat and he has to throw it like, a mile.
Like there's no way that's coming back. What are you doing?
There must be like some kind of like
His
homing
hand
beacon
or
something where it just bounces right
and
back.
I swear
to
there are different weapons of his that make it look like it's just a big thing of iron. Like it's like you're throwing this. What are you? This
like
would just go
versions
straight down.
that
This would fall down. You would not get any momentum while throwing this.
It would.
There's a couple versions that like where it's covered in spikes or like saw blades.
How are you holding this?
Yeah. Or it would just
Right.
drop on his foot and smash it. I mean, realistically, like somebody should just do a little video of him trying to throw it and it just falls on his foot and ends up killing him.
Or like lands like a foot after, like in front of him. He doesn't even get it anywhere close. Certainly not throwing it a mile to hit some flying dragon thing while they're on the Albed ship.
Yeah.
And then comes back to him with one-handed catch.
Just-
He's like, I got this.
While the ship is moving.
yeah, while the ship is
I guess
moving.
that's one aspect that requires a little bit of a suspension of
Yeah.
disbelief. But maybe that's the case with all these weapons we're about to talk about.
So, and then we got a list too of an article that shows some impractical RPG weapons we'll kind of talk about too. But I put a list together of various games that have some pretty off the wall weapons. So I'm not into the Witcher series quite yet. I haven't played much of them. So I put it on there for Jay. And if you can remember any weapons that are just kind of,
They're actually really sane. It's probably the most sane of this list. He just has an iron sword and a silver sword. Silver sword for the monsters, and he can like put spells over the swords or like rub specific types of oil over the swords to like do more damage to specific monsters. But other than that, it's just regular old swords.
so The Witcher?
I guess
normal.
it is realistic in that
Yeah.
aspect.
Witcher's pretty dang normal.
What about,
So when you
I say
Go
what?
ahead.
So what were you going to say, Scott?
I was just going to say that when you said crazy, ridiculous RPG weapons, the very first thing that comes to mind for me is you guys remember in Final Fantasy 13-2, Kyasu's sword?
That big ass one?
Yeah, I'll post a link in the Slack, but it's like gigantic and ridiculously impractical. You talk about like Cloud's Buster Sword and how crazy that is, but this thing just looks unusable.
Looking up it's like why does it need so many spikes? You can't hold that. You can't.
Yeah. It's like not symmetrical at all, and it's like the size of his body, even more so than like the Buster
It's
Sword.
more like
is.
just a rock rather than a sword.
It has like 2 points on the end, so I guess you would have to stab somebody
not
with it. I don't know.
ergonomic at
It's
all.
ridiculous. I do really like Caius, but his sword is crazy.
So, like when people are making the art for it and everything, I wonder if they take anything of practicality into play when they're designing these weapons? Like, this would totally not work.
I doubt it. I think they're more looking for the oohs and the ahs. Like one that always comes to my head is like, especially in the Kingdom Hearts series, like the majority of the Keyblades in Kingdom Hearts are like really ridiculous. Like, how is this going to actually? It's a blunt weapon most of the time, and the very few that are actually like sword, kind of look like a sword, or like the Keyblades like sharper. It's like that's super unbalanced. That's like 70 pounds at the end of the blade. Like, how are you going to hold that? I know Sora has the spaghetti arms.
You're right.
Didn't they say
He's a Keyblade wielder.
Didn't they say a long time ago that the original Keyblade was actually a chainsaw, and they had the original was a chainsaw of some fashion, and Disney made them change it because it was too violent? I could have sworn.
I forgot about that, but I
Yeah.
think that's right.
And
I've
they're
never
like,
heard of
"Oh,
that.
let's just look it up, Jay. Look it up right now. Tell
Well,
me if
I
I'm
mean-
right."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a
Well, I
concept
mean, as
art.
as it fits into the game, Keyblades are really cool weapons, but like they're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the coolest Keyblade, in my opinion, is Fenrir on Kingdom Hearts 2. I think it is. You get it
That is a
after you
cool
beat Sephiroth, I think. That's probably
Mhm. It's like shaped like the Cloud's like Fenrir symbol from Advent
yeah,
Children,
and it's like a modern key instead of like an old time key.
Mm.
Oh yeah. And what is it? Riku's newest Keyblade is like it just looks like a giant car
Yeah.
key.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. And so those are a little more like, okay, that's pretty cool. I could see how that would work. But like especially whenever you get into what is it? The weapon that Xehanort uses at the very, very end of Kingdom Hearts 3. It's like massive
The quote
and it's
key blade.
like huge and it's like
shaped in like a cross shape.
like this is not how it works.
I saw like somebody comment the other day. They're like still thinking about that scene in, I think it's like Kingdom Hearts Coded, where Mickey and the other Disney cast gets like locked in a room. It's like, why didn't you use your key that can unlock anything?
That goes back to the logic of Resident Evil games where you have a gun that could break the lock. It's like, oh, I need this star-shaped key to unlock this door to get where I need to.
And I'm pretty confident most human beings can kick down a door, especially
mouse,
ones
though,
that can fight zombies and are in really good shape.
Yeah,
to just run from zombies for an entire game.
Yeah, I mean, and then the fear adrenaline would kick in and give you extra strength. I mean, I'm sorry, like I'm not gonna go, oh, let me get this key out to unlock this door while I have a zombie getting ready to bite me in the ass. No, I'm gonna go through the door.
Right.
So,
I guess another famous example of a stupid weapon would be the Gunblades, especially in their original form.
I feel like a lot of Final Fantasy has pretty dumb weapons.
Yeah.
The Gunblade, I don't even understand what's the gun part? What's the gun part do? It has no no barrel.
Yes. In 8, it does not actually fire any kind of bullet. So apparently when you press the trigger, it fires around inside the sword, and timed well, the reverberation of the blade from the gunshot going off inside of it can cause more damage as you slash. That's the idea. And I guess that goes to the gameplay mechanic where, you know, you can press R1 with Squall when he's attacking to do a little bit of extra damage.
Or you just put it on auto. Wouldn't that like reverberate in your hands though?
Yes.
Probably. But he's a seed.
That makes it so his bones won't break and his cartilage will stay fine.
They did improve it in Final Fantasy 13 where it actually transforms between sword and gun form. And I actually thought that was actually kind of cool. But
another
you just can't think too hard about
another
these
one
things.
That's kind of goofy to me is Titus's Brotherhood sword. Like it has that hook, so it kind of looks like a fish hook.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would actually work well while slashing, because the whole point of slashing is to like not like hook into it, like you're supposed to just slide down it, you know.
Well, I guess if you hook something, then it would like, and then you actually get your sword back. That thing's
you're gonna like take a chunk of skin with you.
Yeah, but you like get it wrapped around a bone or something, and it's gonna jerk out at your hands.
Yeah. Again, somebody should make some realistic cartoons of what would happen if you use some of these weapons. I think what you're saying would be he'd hook into one of those big monsters, hook a bone, and that monster would throw his ass like in the sky.
Oh, you know what we can't forget about?
What's that?
Sephiroth Sword.
Oh,
that's a good point.
Like I've actually watched a video where somebody created it, like, and you can't use it. It's impossible, like, because swords.
I just imagine it like it wobbling.
That's
back
exactly
and
what
forth
happens,
from
because swords are meant to flex. Like you have to be able to flex a little bit with a sword, or else it's gonna break over time. It has to have some sort of flex. So like a sword that long is just like you can't really do anything with it. And kind of the same with the Buster Sword. Like it still has to have some flex, or it's gonna be brittle.
How long is the Masamune actually supposed to be? Let's see.
The sword is estimated to be anywhere between 6 to 8 feet long. But at the same time, I guess it kind of depends on what scene you're watching with Final Fantasy. Anything, because
That's
I feel like one scene it'll look pretty like, okay, it's, you know, human length. That's not too bad. And then another scene he'll be like a mile away and slashing people. And it's like, okay, did it grow?
And that could be it.
Well, how about just the impracticality of, you know, the 2 times that it happens of him, you know, stabbing Cloud completely through.
hold on.
Like...
I gotta take 10 feet back.
And then he like grabs the blade and somehow, even though it's despite being suspended by it, be able to like lift Sephiroth.
Oh yeah.
That actually does not make sense physics wise.
Yeah. And not to medically, I mean, you're getting stabbed, the shock, and you got to be able to pick him up with it. No, I'd be crying.
You're right.
Oh my God. Okay. So what about looking at this article here? It talks about, let's see, it mentions the rumbling rose keyblade, the flaming swords. Okay. Let's talk flaming swords, like practicality behind that, actually having a sword of fire.
So made strictly of
Yes.
fire or a sword on fire?
Either one.
Because a sword on fire, I'm pretty sure is actually a tactic that used to be used, like an intimidation tactic that used to be used, way back in the day. But I'm pretty sure that'll damage your sword. Like, I mean, swords are created through heat. So I imagine that's like you dip your sword in some oil, set it on fire. You keep it like that for 15 minutes. You're going to slice at somebody and they're just going to cut your sword in half.
True.
Yeah. I always think of that one character in Game of Thrones. What was it? Was it Beric Dondarrion?
Yeah,
Is that his name? That was always pretty badass.
Yeah, it was.
I'm trying to stay away from Final Fantasy, but that series has so many impractical weapons.
Pretty much all of Orin's weapons are kind of like Orin's and Titus's are kind of like, I don't know if that actually work.
Maybe that's
the oracles use books, and bards use harps.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm not really sure how
Smack
that
you with
works.
a book.
Aiko uses a flute.
Who's here played a lot of the Xenoblade games? I think, didn't you, Jay?
I've played the second one, which has pretty ridiculous weapons.
I haven't played too much of that.
Like
so
there's
sure.
One of the characters has like little round things that they kind of look like brass knuckle blades. Like you kind of hold them like they're brass knuckles, but they're big blade circle things, and it's like you punch and slash and stuff, and it's probably a decent weapon in real life, but at the same time, it's kind of like you have no range or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what the heck is up with the main character's sword. It's like this thing that closes up and then it opens and just energy pops out. I'm pretty sure having energy as like a sword, like the idea of lightsabers and stuff like that, is like totally debunked. Like you can't have concentrated plasma like that.
For now.
Yeah. Well, the first one has the Monado.
Oh, God.
By the way, I have been playing that, and I just keep thinking about those drinking game rules we made. At the time, I had not played Xenoblade, and I vastly underestimated how much the rules we came up for that one would kill you. I think one of them was how often the word Monado gets said. It's constant. So, so that's kind of a ridiculous weapon too. It's like an odd-shaped sword with a hole in the middle, but it can shoot out like a lightsaber type thing, like a beam sword kind of. So that's pretty nuts. I couldn't even tell you like what the other characters used though.
Yeah, I'm not.
So I think maybe Xenoblade keeps it mostly tame.
Xenoblade 2 is a little silly. What about how many RPGs are actually using guns? Real guns, not gun blades. Real guns.
So you use a gun in Wild Arms.
This is true. Oh, it's an arm.
One character, that's all he can do. It's an arm in all caps.
Armed.
Apparently forbidden.
The Legends of Gaia might. I mean, those things you attach to the arms, they turn into weapons. I think, if I remember correctly.
I think there are a couple in Final Fantasy that probably quite a few that have guns. I mean, 10 has some guns. I don't even think you get a character that uses guns though. In 10.
Not in 10, yeah.
I think you do
That's
in 12.
10 2 you do.
You do in 12 as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 12 has a shit ton of
Balthier
weapons.
uses it. 10-2, Yuna uses it's part of their dress sphere.
Oh yeah.
They get that. Yay.
She goes from using a staff to
to be proficient.
It's hilarious.
She went totally Tomb
Like,
Raider.
do you think they really went from like I never ever saw in 10, I had never seen any like perfectly well polished pistols like that, like handguns. Like they look like pristine, like two Desert Eagles. It's like they went from where like rifles that looked like they were being jammed with gunpowder and like weird cannons, and you all of a sudden have two like perfectly awesome handguns. Like I'm skeptical.
So I started thinking about the Mario RPGs just now, and Mario is pretty cartoony, so insane things aren't totally out of the norm. But I remember in Super Mario RPG one of Bowser's weapons is he literally throws Mario into the enemy.
Oh.
And that's his normal attack. So, and it's actually a pretty good one. And if Mario is like has a status effect on him or is dead, he'll throw like a Mario doll instead. So that's pretty nuts. Maybe we should like throw each other. I don't know.
What about bows and arrows? I know there are a couple that use crossbows. That's pretty sane. But are there any like super ridiculous bows that are just like, oh, I don't know if that'd work? I'm trying to think of some.
Well, in 13.2, Sarah uses a bow, and it also transforms into a sword on the fly.
Bow.
Yeah.
I wonder how
That's pretty
realistic
cool.
that is. I wonder if anybody can build that.
You should look into that.
I would like this.
That's your new
This sword bow. It needs to be able to slice my enemies as well as transform into a bow within a matter of seconds. That is fully stringed and will allow me to then shoot my enemies.
That will be Tree City. What else are we?
I don't know,
forgetting?
but like you said, the Final Fantasy games tend to have the most off the wall ones.
Well, what in 15, Noctis's main weapon is the
Yeah, that's a weird one.
sword.
Like what?
So how does that
It
work?
Yeah.
vibrates?
I have no idea. He pulls the what's it the string like it's a lawnmower and it says
I want to see that now.
hold on guys, hold on. Oh, I think it needs oil.
In Legend of Legaia, they just use their fists. Right? It's all kung fu.
Basically kung fu. Like supposedly, okay, if you watch the secret movie in the very beginning of the game, like if you let it sit on the main menu for a minute, it will play kind of like a mini game, a mini trailer. In the very end of it, the main character Vaughn, his little raw shrew, I think, grows a sword out of the front of it, but that never happens in the game. Never.
You've
I've
beaten
beaten
it
it like
before,
30
right?
times. I love that game.
I somehow underestimated your love for that game.
I think every time you see a like a really big sword or a really big hammer, you have to go like, oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
I'll suspend. It's kind of like the same with anime too. Like anime has some of the most ridiculous weapons. Like they'll like have a sword and then all of a sudden it transforms into something that's like 30 times bigger. And it's like, well, hold on now.
That's definitely just a penis joke.
Yep,
And
basically, you just suspend, like Jason, all visions of reality and go,
I'm a
okay.
grower, not a shower.
Right.
So I think that covers, like I said, it was just going to be a quick little topic. I wanted to see what your guys' opinions were on impractical, crazy weapons. So,
Yeah. I'm probably going to think of like 30 more like crazy ones. Like, oh, I can't believe we didn't talk about that one as soon as we're done here.
And there are a lot of weapons that I guess contextually matter, like the Keyblade kind of matters in context. What exactly is happening?
Yeah.
Goofy shield is also another stupid one. Like nobody just uses a shield. Come on,
Captain America.
that's another one.
I guess Goofy is basically like just cartoon Captain America because he does like throw his shield
And it
sometimes,
just comes
right?
back.
And then it.
What's
Yeah.
also really
Yeah.
ridiculous? Anytime anybody uses a boomerang as a weapon, boomerangs
That's
are
true.
not good
Yes.
weapons. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, in 13, they're actually like technological boomerangs. So like Hope's boomerangs, when he throws them, they're like programmed. He can actually control where they
they're
go.
a drone.
Make them
It's a
come
drone
back to him.
boomerang.
Yeah, kind of.
A drone-orang.
It's kind of.
I still
Oh,
don't
man,
care. Hope's
But
stupid.
yes, boomerangs are
Another
ridiculous.
one that's really dumb.
Fuck you.
I just slingshots. Like I swear there are some games where like it's slingshot. It's like, oh well, I guess I could do some damage, but I don't know if you're gonna be taking out like demons with slingshots.
You're just going to piss them off.
Yeah.
Just add an engine to it.
Yeah.
and it'll work.
Another good game that I haven't played in a very long time, Dark Cloud 2. The main character has a wrench. His main
Oh.
weapon starts out as a wrench, and you can that actually has a pretty sweet level of customization that you have with the weapons. You can like take it down a customization path. But yeah, it just starts out as a wrench.
I mean, have you ever been whacked on the head with a wrench?
No,
Imagine it hurts.
Yeah, probably, especially a wrench as big as the one that he has.
You just take out the third form of God at the end with your wrench. Just smack them with it.
I mean, it's called a battle wrench, and it is.
There you go.
It starts out as like a normal looking wrench. It's just big, and then you like slowly build it up into being like some crazy freaking, like there's a drill wrench, and there's also a form where it's a turtle shell. It's a pretty good game.
I kind of want to play it now. All right, well, do we want to wrap the discussion?
Yeah, let's just
go
go on and do that. We've discussed a little bit about them.
Wrap it
Tell
up.
us your craziest weapons or what we forgot. Just let us know on Twitter or
Yes.
Discord. Okay, so you guys ready to move on to the RPG club?
Not really, but all right.
All right, everyone, quiet down. All rise. We're here today to bring to order the next session of the RPG Club. All in favor? All opposed? And looks like the ayes have it. Then let the RPG Club commence!
Okay, so like we said before, this the goal was to get to the Sacred Shrine by August 23rd, which is today as of this recording. How'd you guys do?
Well, Your Honor, I just beat the boss on the ghost ship last night before I went to bed. That's the farthest I was able to get.
Okay. Oh, that's not that far.
I know, Scott.
Considering where we were supposed
I
to
tried
get
to go without the guide and the what's the place right before that? The Pleasant Garden. The pleasing garden. The garden of pleasing. Yeah. Sounds great. Not great. No. Oh no. I tried to do it without a guide and I just kept making all the wrong choices. It's like, this is incredibly frustrating.
Dude, that dungeon is serious as far as like if you don't have a guide, like it probably would have taken me forever.
I tried to do it, and then after probably a good hour of me being like, I don't know why I keep picking the wrong, like it seems like I picked every single wrong choice to make. And then I was like, okay, I'm getting the guide, and pretty much every single portal that I had left that I hadn't already chosen was the correct one to go in. So I kind of screwed myself there. But outside of that,
there's one part where it's like, in order for the right passageway to open, you have to go to the rooms in a certain order. There's not even like a switch you press.
I'm pretty sure
you
rooms. Have to pick up. You either have to go into a southern room, or you have to get an item out of there, out of the treasure chest, in order for the switch to show up.
And it's like just a regular healing berry.
And I'm just like, I never ever, because I don't care about all the extra items. But
right.
I never, usually whenever I'm reading the guide, when it's like, okay, go left and grab this heal berry and this thingy, and then go back and take a right instead. I'm just like, I'm just going to take a right. I don't care about it. And so like I skipped over the part of like, go south, all the way south and get this berry, and then go up and press the switch to the left. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to go press the switch to the left. And there was no switch to the left. And so I went back to the beginning and refollowed the guide. And I was like, I don't know what else to do. I guess I'll just go and get the berry. And then after I got the berry, I went back and the switch was there. So I'm like, that's not cool.
Yeah, that is pretty shitty. Well, how far did you get, Rich?
Next.
Did you
I
play
played a little bit, not much.
Okay. Well, where did you actually get
still in?
Wait, you're still in the first part, I bet, aren't you?
Just finger guns. Yep. That's basically it.
Do you remember where at in the first part?
Still the spot I left at. Just I was kind of grinding a little bit for some money.
Dude, money goes fast. These weapons are expensive.
Yeah.
I pretty much cleaned out every time I headed town.
Unfortunately.
But my thing with this is, I still like it. I still like the game. I think it's a really good game. I just need to put more time into it before Scott finds me and beats the crap out of me.
I am definitely going to be playing it this week to get caught up and make progress.
I will be tonight.
Yeah.
My life decisions of trying to find a new job, which I will admit is very privileged. I will say that finding a new job in the middle of a pandemic, as well as leaving a job that is quite good. But still, I made the decision, and it was very, very time consuming, way more time consuming than I ever would have imagined.
I think we talked about it on the last club episode, or maybe last week or whatever. But I remember they basically gave you like a full like school project to do. That's part of your interview process.
and I'm also like very much a perfectionist, especially whenever I'm working on stuff. I'm the kind of person that's like, oh, I don't really understand this, and then I sigh, and then I spend 2 hours reading and like researching it so I can actually understand it, and then I'm like, oh, there goes 2 hours of my life. So that's pretty much what I ended up having to do. And the project kind of like, or like the interview coding challenge. It was technically, they give you a week to do it, but it was pretty in depth, and it was very networking heavy, like with IP addresses, CIDR blocks. And I was like, well, I haven't even thought about this since, college classes. So I'm going to have to go relearn a lot of this, as well as like, data science or like computer science data structures, like binary trees and radix trees. And I was like, oh, well, crap. And then, so I had to like do that project, which I
and you're still working.
I'm still working full time. I had to put all of my, I pretty much put all of my extra time into that. I did more than was expected of me, unfortunately, and probably fortunately, because I got the job. But then I also had to present it to like the team that I was going to be joining, which was 10 people on the call. So that was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you, despite your wild.
And then this past week, I had to get caught up on stuff for the day job, as well as, trying to wrap up home projects, as well as filling out all of the onboarding crap that has to be done before I start at the new company. So yeah, a lot of things.
I think you still get a strike,
I do
though.
Still get a strike, yes.
And this is strike 2 for Rich.
I was like, why don't we just chalk this up to me just losing a vote?
As a reminder, at strike 3, the punishment for us hosts is you lose your voting and nomination for the next RPG club game. So, it's not lost yet. Are we going to reset that when we start the new club game, or is it just going to be cumulative?
Let's reset it.
Yeah.
Okay. They're like, please. I did finish my my part of the club.
Because you're the best of us.
I mean, for what it's worth. Well, you were also on vacation. Okay, Scott. So for what it's worth, I enjoy the game. I actually enjoyed playing it more last night than I had the previous times I had played it. So I'm enjoying the game. I'm having a good time. I pretty much have it on auto battle, even for the bosses, and it's doing a better job than I would be doing. So
funny.
I kind of like that. But outside of that, I mean, the mechanics and stuff, it's a fun game. Puzzles.
But how are we going to do this? Talk about what was covered since.
Just talk about it. Just go.
Yeah. I mean, I can look it up in a guide.
And you guys don't care about spoilers at all, because there are a couple things that happen towards the end.
Just give the abridged version of like the best you can.
Right. Okay, so you start out at the Sand River, which is just a dungeon, and I was very worried at first because my plan was to play the Vita on the car ride down and back from the beach. Unfortunately, apparently the Vita screen is not that great because I could not see shit in the car. Like there was too much light or something. And I actually gave myself a headache and got car sick trying to like see what was going on the screen. So,
welcome to vacation.
It's yeah. Luckily, I was able to wake up like kind of early during the first half of the vacation, and because we went an hour behind, so my sleeping schedule was fucked up a little bit, even from just an hour. But I did get through there. That dungeon annoyed me, even when I could see, because it's like you have to like follow the sand rivers and be on a certain side.
I did use the guide for that one, and like while I was using the guide, like I felt like, oh, I would have been able to do this. That's why I went guideless the next time I played, which was a mistake. And I now realize I am probably 3 or 4 times faster with the guide, and just because the guide that I'm using takes you to every single chest to get every single thing. And I realized that's still faster than me trying to fumble my way through it because I am basically 3 years old from these modern games spoiling me.
Right. So I've been using a guide too, so that's another attribute to my speed.
Like, I don't know if I would have been able to. I don't know if I would have realized to just jump off the bridge into the sand. Like,
and it matters which side of the bridge you jump off too. Like if you're not like all the way to the right, you go the wrong way.
And I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot with these.
Yeah. So you get through there, and then you get to a town just called the Ship Graveyard. Apparently, because like ships crash nearby and wreckage just constantly floats up, as I think.
Also, the guide I'm following says that the ship graveyard was west of leaving the cave. I'm like, there's nothing to the west. This is east.
You found it eventually.
I found it.
So then you have to go to the Pleasing Garden, which we've already kind of talked about how confusing that dungeon is.
You have to in the ghost ship town. You have to go and talk to the previous what do they call the adventurer people?
Dream
chasers. And he's like, I was a dream chaser once, but my wife died and I'm crippled, and her necklace is still there.
Right. So that's the reason you have to go there, is some dude asks you to go get the necklace. I'm glad you remembered that, because I don't remember some of these details, even though it was
these
so
RPGs kind of make me laugh, because it's like if some random guy that I just met was like, hey, go wander in the desert until you find this like disappearing and reappearing dungeon that killed my wife and crippled me, and get the necklace back. And they're just like, okay. Like, I would be like, no, I'm not doing that.
You pay me for that.
Did you have any trouble with the boss here? The Gig Mantis, I believe it was called.
I died the first time, and then I put everybody on auto. I put Mr. No Speaky and Mr. Does Everything on auto battle, and then put Cecilia. Like, I would control Cecilia so that I could switch between using the freeze spell and healing, and that worked really well. I killed it in like no time.
That's interesting. I actually did try using auto battle at one point, but I didn't like how you couldn't cancel out of it.
Yes, you can.
I guess. So I just
so in the main menu, before you press, so like at the start of each one of your turns, you kind of have like a like an action menu, and then the menus for whatever action you pick. Like, it's the fist in the middle, and then to the left there's a little horn. Just switch over to that horn, and then you can reset everything back to whatever stat, like whatever battle type you want.
I was today years old when I learned how that
so
works.
I would put Rudy and what's Indiana Jones's name's Jack. So I'd put Rudy and Jack on all out mode for auto battle, and then Cecilia on manual. And I got lucky because right before that battle, that's whenever I bought the free spell. And that spell did like 600 damage on the Mantis every single time.
Yeah, I remember that working pretty well. But anyway, after that dungeon, you go back to Ship Graveyard, and you run into our old pal, Bartholomew, who was the ship captain of the Sweet Candy, as I think was the name of the ship.
Oh, one more thing that I thought was weird, and I never would have thought of. After you beat the Mantis, you pick up its head and throw it at the crystal. Like that's how you progress to the next stage. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you do this?
Maybe that's another weird RPG weapon. But there's apparently the ship. You want to use the ship to go somewhere for some reason. But there's like a fucking haunted ghost ship out in the ocean. So you go out there to take care of that. Did you you said this is where you stopped, Jay? Did you actually finish the dungeon?
Yeah, I beat the boss, but then like saved my state right after I beat him and went to sleep. Actually,
speaking of auto battle, when I got to that boss, I forgot to turn it off before I went in, and of course I didn't know that you can cancel out of it, so I lost a fair amount of progress there. But yeah, so you get rid of the ship. There's actually like a kind of like cool scene where the haunted ship sinks and they're all looking out at the horizon, and it's beautiful again. But then Bartholomew gives your party they let you use the ship. So then you get a ship that you can sail around the ocean on, the inner sea. You can find bottles and shit. And basically the world kind of opens up a little bit at this point to where you can go back to previous locations and shit if you want to. I went back to Atlahide for some reason and got some new or restocked on items and shit like that. But then the next dungeon is the Tri-Pillar, which you guys will find very interesting when you get there, because it forces your party to split up into 3 again.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, so it's very easy if you're not paying attention for the enemies to just kind of like wipe you out since you only have one character.
Wipe them out.
So, pro tip, Cecilia's Path has a save point in that dungeon. So if you can get there, then you can sort of save scum your way through the dungeon, like, switch back and forth between your characters and save whenever you want.
Oh.
So I recommend doing that if you remember when you get there. But at the top, once all 3 characters have gotten to the top and all that, the boss is the Mage Fox. Which I actually had a hard time.
I just read it as Megan Fox.
Oh. I wish. Although I'm sure she wouldn't look great in these graphics. But this boss was actually pretty tough. I had to like pull out all the stops kind of. And I think I actually lost once.
Huh.
So I can't remember what the deal was, but look forward to that. So then you go to Rosetta Town, I believe. And the whole deal here is there should be. I don't remember
There's gotta be a stone there.
It's like a rich town, and everybody there kind of sucks. They're just like uppity and snooty and
can speak
shit like
multiple languages.
Mm-hmm. But there is an eel girl, that ancient race that they talk about all the time, that lives here, and she's like ostracized by the community, and so everybody kind of like hates on her.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, so it's like the United States.
Yeah, exactly. So you befriend her. Rudy actually like defends her from the town bullies, which are the mayor's sons. But the mayor is sick, and the eel. I hope I said that. It's like EWL.
Yeah,
It's a really weird word to say.
I do not know how to pronounce it.
The eel girl knows of a herb in the forest that will heal the mayor. So the girl's name is Mariel, I believe. So you all band together, go to the forest. It's really short, like it's literally.
It's
just
pronounced Elu.
Elu. Oh.
I just.
That was my timer for 15 minutes, so I'm gonna try to speed through the rest of this. So then the next dungeon, you heal the mayor, but the townsfolk are really still mean to the eel girl Mariel. And I don't think if there's any resolution there actually. So then you go to the Volcanon Trap, which is another major dungeon. There's lots of lava in here. You have to use your grappling hook, which you get in the haunted ship, to like sort of get over lava and shit.
Is there a lot of massive dungeons in this game?
Yeah, I mean it's basically like town dungeon, which I guess you could really reduce a lot of RPGs.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my god.
Be careful when you're there, because when you step on the lava, you take damage, but it's like a lot of damage. It's not like most RPGs where it's like, yeah, I could walk on this.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
At one point, Zed bursts through the wall, and you fight him again in this dungeon. And then, and I forgot, you also come here with Calamity Jane and McDolan, her butler, and because they're looking for treasure, so you sort of team up with them, and you defeat Zed. And then the whole thing turns out to be a trap, because they thought that they were going to find like the key to some legendary weapons or something here, but it was a setup by the demons. And so you fight Belselk, and he tries to absorb the power of the ruins so that he can like actually take you out this time. But Calamity Jane like takes out the source of the power. She just like sort of knocks over pillars and shit. So then you fight Belselk, and you actually defeat him. And he's like talking about he can't believe he lost. But then he actually here's the spoiler, guys. He gets assassinated by a new demon whose name is Boomerang.
Boss swap.
And yeah, I don't remember what his deal was, but like there's a scene where Mother talks about how she's going to replace Belselk with Boomerang.
Mother.
And the other demons in the squad, the Order of No Quarter, or whatever they're called, the Quarter Knights. They they are not happy about it because apparently like Boomerang's even more evil than they are or something like that. I don't remember the details. But Zeke and Mother have an argument about whether or not he should be added to the squad.
Huh.
But they get out of there, and the interesting thing is that Boomerang has a partner named Luciid, and it's actually one of the like the guardian gods. They're supposed to be like on your side. So I don't think it's actually been revealed like what the deal with that is yet.
Mind control. And then a boss swap.
Maybe that's why they're happy about it. So then you go to Court Syme, which is a town. Wait, I think I'm forgetting something. The Giant's Cradle. Oh, you go there and you find another golem. And what's her face? The girl from Adlehyde, the scientist, Emma. She helps you excavate it. And there's a cool scene where like they can't figure out how to activate it. But Cecilia, she like talks to it overnight while everybody's asleep, and it comes alive. Like she convinces her of their worth or something like that. That's a cool scene. And then you go to Court Syme, which is a town. You get some more scenes about Rudy's past here. I don't really remember the details. And then the last dungeon of this section is the Epitaph Sea, where it's like a tower, and there's actually some cool scenery here, like the backdrops and stuff. I don't really remember a lot of the details, but you fight Boomerang and Luciid here, and it's actually kind of a tough fight. Like, they do a lot of damage. So, I recommend to go in prepared there. But you defeat them, and they're kind of like, just, we weren't even using a fraction of our power.
Oh, nice.
And then they get away. You go back to the town.
That's always a funny trope. Guy only used 11.75% of my true power.
Right.
So if you just use all your power, you can just end it right now and you win.
Yeah, like what you holding up for, man?
Back in Court Syme, Alhazad, the weird white lion demon, appears. And he basically says he wants you to give him the rune drive, which is the thing you got in the last dungeon. And he's going to kill everyone in town if they don't give it to him.
That's sad. Why
yeah.
It's so mean.
So you have to, right? You have to go to the sacred shrine, and that is the end of this section.
How long did this part
take
you? This whole block?
I've actually been recording my times at various checkpoints. So I got to the Sand River around 12 hours and 27 minutes, and I finished this section at 18 hours and 49 minutes. So I guess a little over 6 hours, which is about how long they're supposed to be.
I think Corey said, not Corey, Colin. Colin said that he kind of plowed through it, didn't he? Like like a handful of hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it only took him like 3 or 4, which remind me to tell you something secret about this after we're done recording. I have some dirt.
I love dirt.
Dirt's good.
So I was able to like improve my speed on this one, and the game continues to be fun. I like how the bosses are getting a little bit more challenging. You can't just necessarily spam the same attacks over and over, although maybe y'all's experience will be different. I'm still enjoying the game. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. So it's fun enough, I guess. Very retro. But you guys have a lot of ground to catch up on.
I have a lot of ground. So he's okay. He'll get there.
But now we have a new section we got to get to.
And just pours on the salt on the wound.
Right. So hopefully everybody is still enjoying the RPG Club, and we shall continue to plow forward. So again, the new checkpoint is to finish the Gate Generator dungeon by September 6th. So yeah. All right. You guys ready to wrap up?
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Wrap.
Wrap it up. Time to wrap it up.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Jay, what are we doing next week?
We are going to have a nice little retrospective, and hopefully we can get the community involved, because I'm really interested in just seeing how everyone's doing with gaming and the pandemic. So we've already talked about in the aftercast, we've talked a little more on the political side with the pandemic and kind of a more darker tone. We've talked about it. But I'd like to kind of look at this as a retrospective, staying as positive as we can. So kind of we're going to be reaching out and just asking the community, like, how's everyone doing? How's everyone coping? How is gaming helping? Is it not helping? What are some things that you would like to have been able to do if the pandemic didn't happen? As well as just seeing if like how us three are kind of handling everything. It's been a little bit since we've actually like had check-ins and catch-ups. So I imagine we can probably spend the whole episode just catching up from. I feel like it's been forever since we had a casual.
Yeah, I think it's actually been over a month since we did like a full catch-up segment.
So lots happened. So yeah, if you have any thoughts about gaming during the pandemic, the pros and cons of it, has it helped? Has it not helped? And more specifically, if there is anything we could do in the future to maybe make a pandemic not so bad. But hopefully we won't ever have to like worry about this again. But yeah, we'll move on from there.
Dude, not to dwell on it too much, but I'm worried that this is our new normal. Like I'm worried we're going to be here next year. So this time. So.
Hopefully not. Let's be positive.
See.
Positivity.
Yes. And we said on the episode about the JRPG July and all that I liked what you said about how just those community events in general are very helpful to like sort of bring people together. Yep. So plugs. One way you can help out the show, hopefully you're enjoying it, rate and review us on your podcatcher app, assuming it has a review service. A lot of them don't. But Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all that. It really helps get the show out there. And we appreciate your feedback. Hopefully it's positive. But an even better way to support the show
is with our Patreon. Get early access to episodes, ad-free episodes. You don't have to hear about Anchor and various other things. Probably We Work Network. Aftercast extra reviews, which Scott and Corey have some extra reviews in the pipeline. RPG Club, which we just talked about, I'm really enjoying it once I get more involved with it, but I think it's a great thing that we've added to the show. And much more. So you can find us at patreon.com/RPG After Years.
Yes. Another place you can find us is on Twitch. We are streaming this live right now and hope to continue doing more streams as time goes forward. As a reminder, maybe we should add this to what we say whenever we talk about Twitch. We normally record our episodes at 9 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. So that is when you can catch us. But hopefully we'll be doing some extra streams too. You can find us at twitch.tv/RPG.
Another good way to reach us is just through email. So if you have feedback, you don't want to submit a review, because maybe it's some negative feedback that you want to give us a chance to improve on it without, totally, kicking us and stabbing us. You can send that via email, but also if you just have feedback, generalized feedback, maybe topic suggestions, you can send that to rpgafteryears@gmail.com.
All right, Discord. This is where our community gets together and talks about anything and everything related to RPG and gaming in general. The link can be found in the show notes or our pinned tweet on Twitter.
Yes. And speaking of Twitter, you can find the show at RPG Years, and you can find me at the Scott Spot.
And me at HailBlue1569.
You can find me at JAYD Hizzle.
And if you're interested, you can find Bill at Matunica with 2 N's.
Matunica or Matunica?
And I think that's about it. So we've covered some of the craziest weapons in RPGs. There's going to be more in the future, I can tell you that, with different games as time goes on. And the RPG Club will also continue. Join us next week for our discussion about gaming and the pandemic. But until then, I'm Rich.
I'm Scott.
We'll catch you guys next time for episode 30 of the RPG After Years. Bye.
Bye.
Cool. Bye.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
@ProbablyWork
for more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.